that, Flightline, the retirement of Flightline, was coming since before September. We knew this, but we weren't allowed to divulge this information.
Yes.
B is the only thing that makes any sense from about four different standpoints. I mean, number one, the insurance to race the horse would be prohibitive, and there's a chance may
Costly.
not have even been able to find reasonable uh, prices to insure the entire horse. And after today's sale of 2.5%, which went for $4.6 million, which seemed like it was considerably higher than anybody's unofficial guesses. I was
Yeah.
thinking 3 million, and I only thought three because I know a lot of people were in the twos. Was that this is something that you're not going to be able to get your hands on, and
Mm-hmm.
the horses just ran a spectacular race. Um, and what's the difference really for people that are going to go buy mares for 3 million, or 4 million, or 5 million, 7 million? What's the difference between 2.5 million and 3 million?
Not much.
Right. It's not much. I mean, economically, maybe it'll be harder to get your money back, but you also own a piece of a horse that no one else outside of the current shareholders are going to own. That's not going to be
Well, I mean, you're
good.
also like basic, basically locking in at a certain price for 4 years because his babies won't hit the track, and then you have other seasons after that before they start hitting the track.
Yeah.
I mean,
The price
I
was
think it
higher than
was six. You
thought.
get your money back. 6 seasons, you get your money back.
So, but that was a factor in the horse's retirement. And from the standpoint I was talking about, and people get upset, and people, one person on Twitter told me that I must hate horse racing. It just gets tiresome when
Mm.
people don't listen to logic. And you don't have to agree with the logic, but you have to understand what the logic is. And just saying, oh well, racing needs to start, he should be back. Well, that's not good enough for me. Maybe that's good enough for you, but you explain to me what races that you want to see him racing. And then you explain to me what is compelling about any of those races. Why would any race that Flightline would run in next year be a competitive race where it wouldn't just be 1-9 against a couple overmatched horses? Because let's face it, the best horses in training were in the race against him on Saturday, and they're all gone.
Every single one of them almost.
Okay? Like, all right, I'm gonna give you a red strike, and I don't know why, but people keep saying, "Oh, geez, he ran fourth. Why is he gonna get his credit?
Yeah,
When is
I
he gonna
don't
get his credit?
understand.
I'll tell you when gonna get his credit when he wins a race.
When he wins another one.
Yes, you need to win a race. Fourth place is nice if you want to look at him as a horse who broke his maiden for maiden 30 last year. It's not nice if you won the Kentucky Derby. You're held to a higher standard. Therefore, you have to at least hit the board. And well, since everyone else is retired, I don't want to hear any excuses for a strike next year. Win or go home. Sick of it. Anyways, to move on to the Flightline thing is where would he race that would be a compelling race? I mean, even in this race, where most people, or at least a large portion of people, had kind of conceded that he was probably going to win,
Mm-hmm.
because there was no question about his ability to get a mile and a quarter anymore. That's gone. He's not a horse that's going to be easily defeated with tactics. You can't run with him. He'll let you go if you go too fast. If you try to go slow, he'll run by you. He's not going to be in big fields. So how exactly are you going to beat that horse if he's close to 100%? I mean, you're just not. So all these ideas about people saying, "Oh well, Oh, well, you should go to the Middle East and Dubai or Saudi Arabia.
For what?
Those races are only important because of the amount of money that's given out for those. Well, for that horse, money doesn't matter because he can make more money than that not running in them. There's very, very few horses that you can say that with. And we on this show have been massive proponents of people running horses more, not retiring them. I've bitched about Cyberknife being retired for how many months now? I mean, he is the horse that to me really is missing out, but they
Right.
sold out to a stallion.
Such an opportunity to be the best horse in the division.
Yes, and
Easily.
coming back into next year, who's coming back? Rich Strike is coming back.
Cody's Wish.
Cody's Wish, but we don't know what he's going to do with Cody's Wish.
Right.
He's going to keep him running a mile, which has been, very effective at. In Taba, and that's really it. I mean, that's literally it.
Charge it.
You don't even know if he's going to run.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a talented horse, but he hasn't run since like June.
Yeah, it was June.
So, like what's he going to be like if he? I mean, he kept. When he first announced that he wasn't going to make the Travers with the foot injury, Todd Pletcher seemed relatively optimistic that it was going to be something that wasn't going to be a big deal. But as soon as the next race and then the next race, and they were starting to be quickly ruled out, and then it was, hey, we're just going to take the rest of the year. That's not a great sign for that horse, because a foot problem is something that may or may not get better, depending on the issue and how it grows. And horses' feet are a delicate subject. They can really, you don't want to get situations where you might wind up with some founder and a foot, because that's not a good thing. But back to Flightline. So where else are we going to run him? And what kind of schedule is he going to keep? He's not going to run 5 or 6 times already. Why would that happen next year when it hasn't happened in the previous 2 years? So if you work back from next year's Breeders' Cup Classic, a race is 363 days from now. All right, but you put that as one of your races.
Okay.
Maybe make the one of the Dubai races one of your races.
Okay.
All right, so now you got a race a year from now, and you got a race
twice
on the other side of the earth that's going to run at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning in March. You'll probably get one race in between there.
You think?
You would think that the Sadler would probably want to race him on the West Coast.
Right.
Because that's where the Breeders' Cup is going to be next year. So is it really worth it to risk now at least $100 million horse that you might have to self-insure $50 million worth to run in Dubai, the Pacific Classic again, and the Breeders' Cup Classic again? And if you were to win those 3 races, all the naysayers, the people that are, going to be critical of the horse, are they going to suddenly come around and say, oh, well, hey, he beat Rich Strike as a 4-year-old, man, like, or Royal Ship, or whoever the hell's left out in California, none of which decided that they were willing to ship east to run in a $6 million race against him. So it becomes